Hello, Steeler Nation. Welcome to your Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, part of the Big Play Vidcast Network. I am your host, G.Stryker, and Chase Claypool, man, did he get the short end of the stick in the trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chicago Bears, guys. After helping us beat Tampa Bay way back week 6, our second win of the season, he caught 8 catches on 8 targets, 96 yards, got the touchdown, got the big third down conversions, helped us win a game. Chicago's like, that guy can play. We'll give him our second round pick for that. And what happened here last weekend? Chicago found another way to lose again, which we were kind of expecting after Minnesota got their butts kicked the previous week. They went ahead and they wrecked Chicago last week. But the interesting thing occurred that we needed to occur, that we were praying to occur, and that was for the Houston Texans to find some way to beat the Indianapolis Colts. And it happened. It happened in brilliant fashion. Thank you so much, Houston Texans. I'm sorry, Lovie Smith, you lost your job because you won. You would have the number 1 overall pick. Instead, you've given the Steelers the 32nd pick in the draft through that trade with Chicago. Chicago now being the top drafted team, or having the first pick of the draft, having the worst record in the NFL. That is a huge boon. Now, normal years, 32nd pick is a first rounder. We don't have to worry about the first round option, any of that aspect, but we're still getting the benefit of that number 32 pick. Don't have to pay them like a first rounder. We pay them like a second rounder. Different contract, the way it's set up, and that helps us out tremendously. But what makes Chase Claypool the biggest loser, Stryker? What are you getting at? Is it his stats? Yeah, his stats were pretty bad. So once he went over to Chicago, I think he only put up 100 yards, where he was closer to 300, has a touchdown receiving, had a touchdown throwing over here, no touchdowns over in Chicago. But that is not what made him the biggest loser in the NFL. Let's look at those records again. Chicago had 3 wins during that trade with us. We had 2. They had 3. They had more wins than we did when we traded Chase Claypool. We traded him over to Chicago. He did not win another game the rest of the season. Still had 1 bye. Chicago ends up with a 3-14 record. Chase Claypool ends up with a 2-15 record. Chase Claypool has a worse record than the Chicago Bears this season. Not fair to him. That's just the way it worked out. All the losses in the front end of the season with the Steelers. Steelers ending up having less wins than Chicago at the time. Switched over. Chicago didn't win a game. 2 wins. Sorry, Chase. 2 wins makes you the NFL's biggest loser this season. How are you guys doing? Guys, this is your show. You've got any questions, comments? I am here from you. I'm going to Chow Chow Dad first, because he commented before the show even started. Hey, Stryker, happy for the win. Disappointed we didn't make the playoffs. Would have been good to see how far we've come since the Buffalo destroyed us. Sorry, I'm getting rid of my gum. At the beginning of the season. True. I think we would have played better against Buffalo. We would have had T.J. Watt back. We would have had Fitzgerald at full capacity. We would have probably be playing a game in a more of a cold weather game, which lends itself to more of a ball control, ground and pound offense, which the Steelers now have. Also, our defense, the way we've been fluctuating our interior defensive players, Robinson, Spillane, gives us a better front than Jack and Bush did last time we saw them. Our defensive backs are playing better ball. Claypool, KZ coming in back from that surgery as well. That wrist surgery that I thought he might have been lost for the season. Fortunately, came back and he was fantastic. Fitzgerald also. Yep, definitely. But that is a way I think they would have competed very well against Buffalo in Buffalo in the next game. Buffalo hasn't been blowing people out anymore either. They've had a tough sledding of it. They've had a couple banged up players as well. would have been a better matchup. And I'll tell you the truth, I would not have been shocked to see Kenny Pickett shock the world again if that was the case. Big play, chow on before the show starts. Oh, that's everything. That's all my quotes that came through. Rick Giddings, welcome back to the show, Rick. It's been a while. Deontay's cryptic message. Let's talk. Have no idea what he meant by that message today. I know he sent out a tweet. Yes, Fitzpatrick. Yes, definitely. But he was, I know a lot of us are a little upset. I've been chatting back and forth on the football forum over at Steeler Nation. I'm a big defender of Diontae Johnson's skill set, and I always will be. I think that his value to what we get for him as a player of that caliber, coming in at $13 million a season on average for the 3 years, starting this past year and the next two, though I think his cap hit next year is 16, 15 the following year. Still very affordable when we were talking about all those receivers that were grabbing $20 million contract, 22, 23, 25, 22, 23, 23 million, on the corner, got 25, 25 minutes, sold to the Green Bay Packers. That's the way it's going now, guys. Wide receivers are starting to get top defensive player money. This is not going to ever be sucked back. We're giving guys like Kirk 23 mil. They're not pulling that back. Our guy was a Pro Bowler. He wanted to take a hometown discount. He plays injured. I will give him all the props in the world, but the only thing I'm concerned about Diontae Johnson is dropping that football and how he drops it more at the end of the season than he does through the rest of the year. That is the only thing that kind of bugs me a little bit. I'm not doing any live video. I'm sorry, Instagram. I've got 4 different platforms going on. There's too much. Thank you, Chi-Town. Hey, here we go, Ken Boyle. Welcome to the show, Ken. I recognize your name. I met a Rick Boyle at a tailgate this week. Not sure if you're related. He came to the game there against Cleveland. We had a blast at the Steeler Nation terrible tailgate. And, of course, enjoyed the victory against Cleveland Browns. I drink Iron City beer. Question, do you think things would be different if we traded Johnson to the Bears instead of Claypool? No. Not at all. And we saw a little speck of it here. I'll get this to drink Iron City. When we put at the end of the half in this past game, Steelers actually benched DJ for the final 4 plays in that half. Our receivers, they moved Pickens from the Z to the X, which is where DJ plays. They put Gunner in the slot, and they put Sims in the Z. Gunner couldn't get open. Sims couldn't get open. George couldn't run the routes that DJ ran. So that is why it would have been a completely different offense. We would have even been more anemic trying to get the ball downfield. DJ makes George Pickens better. George Pickens makes DJ better. It's having those two working together like we did with Juju and AB. The two of them together were at their best. Absolute best, and probably the best tandem year we ever had out of 2 receivers. That could be possible by these 2 guys as well. If we start getting that dynamic throwing now, if they start opening up the offense and allowing Kenny Pickett to throw downfield, which I know they're going to start doing it. Thank you very much, Ken Boyle, about the yellow helmets. I love them too. They were the original helmets. Original helmets. Started off with the leathers, went to the numbers. That's John Henry Johnson's helmet. And then this is the first time they put a logo on the side. It's the steel logo on the yellow helmets before turning into the black helmets. But yes, good stuff all around. Ryan Farmanita, welcome to the show, Ryan. Told you my Carolina boy Highsmith was going to have a big game. 2.5 sacks. What's that, 14.5 on the year, Ryan? Definitely. Yeah, that University of Charlotte player can play. And he's going to get paid. Now, he's still locked up for the Steelers for 1 more year on his rookie contract, but this is the year the Steelers usually extend players that they're going to build a core around. Highsmith, you can build a core on defense around. I'd be all for retaining him, Ryan. Absolutely love that take. And way to say that too, man. Love him. Chow, Dad. I feel bad for Claypool. Kid's got guts, plays hard, but he's really young and immature. He matured from last year and will make more improvements on the Bears. If the Bears don't kill his spirit. True. I hope he I hope he becomes a good receiver. I have nothing but, now that we've gotten our pick, I was rooting against his team to win. I was rooting for him to do well. Now that we've got our pick, I don't care what happens to Chicago. I'd be happy to see Claypool have great games. And that would be great. Chow. I think we would have been competitive. It definitely would have helped out. Honestly, we lost a little bit not having Chase Claypool in the slot. We rotated in a lot of different people. Sims, Gunner, bringing in Connor Hayward, throwing the running back sometimes up in the slot as well, using the second tight end, Gentry, a lot more than we normally would have. That's the only difference. We made through it. We ended up being 7-2 without him. So we ended up doing something right. So it ended up working out all around for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations, Con, because that was a risk. Because he gave us one of our only 2 wins in the beginning of the season. Brian Davis, I hope you have a great offseason. Do you have any big Viking trips planned? Like trips to see the Vikings play football, or what? Going to Viking cruises on rivers over in Europe? My mind just grabs loose associations when you give me things, but I'm going on vacation, taking the company on vacation to the Florida Panhandle, down in Devlin, Florida, Okeechobee Island, around that area, for a week here at the end of the month, and then taking the daughter out to Disney in mid-February. So those are my big Viking trips locally. We are live! Yes, I'm late. Sorry, Professor. You can be as late as you want, my friend, always. Checking out over here on Instagram as well, making sure we're all getting Claypool first pick in the draft. Right. That was so great. First, and that's going to be a big pick. The first pick of the second round. Everybody wants that pick. This might be one of the few times the Steelers trade back maybe a couple picks to bank some more picks. Because that first pick of the second round is just as anticipating. It's a full day for players and teams to jockey. Steelers, we want this guy. We'll give you this, this, and this. We'll give you this pick and a first rounder next year. That's the kind of stuff we'd have to consider. If somebody that's a can't miss isn't there on the board that we're dying for, that is the perfect opportunity to trade back in the draft, the first pick of the second round, because everybody wants that pick the day after the draft to try to make up for the mistakes that you made in the first round, the guys you couldn't get in the first round. You want to be in the leader seat in the second round to have the best player available to help your team, and that is the slot of choice. Absolutely a slot of choice, and I would not be surprised if we trade back. What about Johnson with his TDs this season? Incredible. Incredible, Brooks. I mean, a player of that caliber, he had 85 receptions. We saw he was a toe out of bounds on the one earlier in the season. He was 2 great throws, that wide open patterns in the end zone in this past game. One bounces off of the helmet of a defensive lineman. The other one gets batted down. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it is hardship. It's not because of his talent. He's a talented player. I would not have bet at all that he would have had 0 receptions, let alone all of the wide receivers this season only having 5. 4 of them being to George Pickens, 1 going to a guy that's not on the team anymore, Claypool. That was it. That's all of the wide receiver touchdowns had this year. We have 12 throwing touchdowns total. We played 17 freaking games. 12 touchdowns in the air. Come on. Have you ever heard of that? That's why you have that kind of production and a year like we had. I mean, sure, like, he might have gotten a couple 2-point conversions for us, but that's window dressing when we're talking about touchdowns, obviously. I hear you there, but good point. He just got to catch the ball. You're right, Coleman. And that's the only thing. He's dropping it more at the end of the season than he does in the beginning of the season. He was doing fantastic up before the last 4 games. Actually, pretty strong catching the ball, and then it starts to compile. Now it's been 2 seasons in a row where he's done it. So now it's starting to be a trend and something that I'm going to keep an eye on for next year as well. Fano D. Johnson just has to get like Mason. He had too many drops. Truth. Definitely did. Where are we at over here on this side? Here we go. Brian Davis. I hope you have a great offseason. Do you have it? Oh, that we did the Viking stuff. We did the Vikings stuff. We're back to Chow Chow. I'm looking forward to watching the Bengals and Ratbirds beat the snot out of each other. Winner may not be able to field a team. Well, we still don't know if Lamar is even going to play. That's the only thing that's going to make that a game. I mean, sure, their defense is going to try to pound the hell out of Cincy, but Cincy's going to kill Baltimore. They're going to absolutely slaughter Baltimore this weekend. That's a good safe bet, in my opinion. Michael Hall, how about them Steelers defense? How you feeling, Deshaun? Let's talk a little bit about Deshaun here, too. I put this on my thing to talk about. Deshaun Watson now. $250 million guaranteed. $55 million a year on the cap for the next 4 years. Can't trade him. Can't get rid of that number, Cleveland. $55 million going to Watson. That's like $10 million allegation on that full contract, guaranteed. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble, 7 sacks. Should have been 8. Sure, he wiggled his way out of another 5. But this is the kind of quarterback we want to see for the next 4 years. Why? Because we're built to put them on the ground. Lamar Jackson, same way. We throw him on the ground 6-7 times. We love these type of quarterbacks. These running backs that throw the football, that are a little indecisive about getting it out quickly. Steelers love those guys. And to have him there for another 4 years is a godsend. Absolute godsend. Another thing to tack on to $55 million off the cap for the next 4 years. Cleveland, no first rounder next year. Cleveland, no third rounder next year. Way to go, Brownies. It's going to be a tough sledding for Browns fans. Now, unless Deshaun starts showing he can be a Superman, you're talking about this deal is going to hurt them for the next 6-8 years. This is a tough deal. At least 6. Man, they locked themselves into the worst decision ever. Absolute worst decision ever. But it's the Browns. What? Browns are going to Brown. What's up, Claude? Good to hear from you. Hey, Stryker, how many more years do you think Cam will play? 2. He does this every year, guys. I know we all heard about Cam jumping up, being like, well, you know, if I'm back. He did it last year, too. But I thought nothing of it because he's under contract. People are like, well, he's making $22 million next year. Yeah, he's an all-pro defensive lineman with double-digit sacks. That's a freaking steal in this league. 22 is less than 28, which is what a lot of these defensive linemen that are edge rushers get. He's the one that knocks the ball down. He's the one that plays the run. Cam does it all. Just don't put him at nose. Does it all. Team leader on and off the field. Come on. The Steelers are not cutting Cam. I'll say it again, just so it sinks in. The Steelers are not cutting their defensive captain, their team leader, their Walter Payton Man of the Year consecutive nominee. No chance of him getting cut. Probably not even going to cut his, even restructure his salary. To tell you the truth, we're like $100 million under the cap. We've got room. $22 million ain't hurting us next year. We don't have a quarterback to pay for another 4 years. We're golden. Play out his contract. Let it roll off the contract, roll off the Steelers' back like water off a Duck Hodges' back. We're golden. Absolutely golden. Never get rid of a guy like that. Instagram popping. Ivan, just keep DJ Johnson when Calvin Austin is back in the slot. DJ Pickens will get so much space to work. Absolutely. And that'll help out everybody. Like, I'm still a little apprehensive about Austin ever seeing a professional football field. He's tiny. He didn't play a snap this year. He didn't even play in preseason or training camp this year. Tried to come back to practice, got hurt again. I don't know if this guy is Dree Archer. I don't know if this guy is Colston, who never played it down for us to be a freaking cornerback that we drafted in the second round. Fortunately, we got his partner as an undrafted rookie free agent when New England let Hilton go. But Chris Rainey couldn't play in this league either. Tiny guys. I don't know. I don't know what Austin, I cannot bank on him. I'm drafting another receiver. I am drafting another wide receiver, and I'm looking for a return-capable slot receiver in this draft. They're all over the place. Hopefully we can find a good one, because you're right, that route running is what opens up the game, and I'm looking more to have like an Eli Manning slash Antoine Randall L type slot player, as opposed to these big-bodied guys that we've had with Juju and Claypool. Having the shift and the wiggle on the inside, I think, is better for helping to move those chains, create some big plays, create some run after the catch. Those big guys just draw too much coverage. Claypool didn't drop it passes like DJ. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. But doesn't catch as many as DJ as well. You are crazy. Of course I'm crazy. I'm a Steeler fan. Gunner got to go. I also can't wait to see Austin third. Yeah, we'll have to see on that. Gunner too. He's under contract for one more year. Bring back Juju. At least he runs forward. So did Claypool. But Juju probably will never sniff Pittsburgh again. Guys, he was great. Took the pay cut to play with Ben. He's not going to play with another quarterback for a rebuild. He's building his stats with Mahomes to play with another good program to get paid. We're not going to pay him. He wasn't worth 9-10 last year for us. He didn't want to play with us either way for the rebuilding year, and I don't blame him, like we said. But he's not coming back, guys. He's gone. Happy trade. He was a great girlfriend while we had her. You know, we got to remember the good times. But, you know, we got married to somebody else. They did too. We can still be friends. We can still be friends. Would I bring that? Just out of Drama John. Yeah, that was my Juju take. Hamid Hux, what are we going to do at corner? That's going to be interesting. I think we might have a high draft pick corner this year. That might be one of the targets in the first round. I want to bring back Sutton. He's my top free agent to bring back for a re-signing from our team. From the sounds of his Twitter, he wants to be back. He is a Steeler. Maybe he'll take another slightly reduction under market value, but I would love to have Sutton back. He's getting better and better every year. Hell, he could have had close to 6 interceptions himself. A couple he got hands on, he put on the ground, but he was a great performer out there, and a big reason why we led the NFL in interceptions. Can't just be one guy. You got to have the whole team doing it. Millette grabbing some, Wallace grabbing some, Fitz grabbing a ton, Edmonds grabbing none. You know, that's just the way we work on that defense. KZ, my guy, that I wanted strong safety. Of course, grabbing 2 at his limited snaps. That's my problem with Edmonds, guys. Just doesn't make big plays. Just doesn't get us the ball. But that's the way it goes sometimes. And I'll be back to you guys in a skosh. Hey, Nick, how you doing? Brian Davis, Renaissance Festivals, a.k.a. Vikings. Gotcha. Yeah, brother is going to be out in Sherwood Forest, which is just east of Austin by about 40 minutes. So I might be going to Sherwood Forest for a week, trying to get them into Maryland Ren Fair, but that doesn't start till the summer. Donald, not to mention, I called it 10-8, meant 8-9-8 when we were 2-6. Gotta love our Steelers. Me too, Donald. That's what I said. 10-8 at the beginning of the year, or sorry, 10-7. Ended up being 9-8. Yeah. So we were both just one off, but excellent job, Donald. You get your kudos as well because you believed in the Steelers when no one else did. Shakir, Steeler fan here, rooting for the Bengals. Let's kill the Ratbirds. That's fine. I usually root for the division in the playoffs. I know it's weird, but I want our division to win Super Bowls so we have a little bit more credibility as a division. Right now we got 2 Super Bowl winners, and the Rats are just recent. Sure, Cleveland was good before they had to lose their team and create a new team, the expansion team Cleveland Browns, as opposed to the old Cleveland Browns, which are the Baltimore Ravens. But, and still Cincinnati. I rooted for Cincinnati in the Super Bowl last year. I laughed at them when they lost, but I still rooted for them. It's just the way it went. Jeff Barber, am I the only fan who will root for Claypool next year? I will be happy for him if he has an amazing season next year. I'm all for him too, Jeff. Now that we got the draft pick, I am pro Claypool no matter where he goes or what he does. And even if he leaves Chicago after next year, maybe he'll come back. We'll have to see. Ryan, so Edmonds is trying to recruit his brother to us. I would love that. I would love to have the other Edmonds, who is a free agent, that I mentioned this in a couple shows, coming from Buffalo. He's a free agent. Don't know if they're going to re-sign him, but if they do not, I would love to have that Edmonds on the team as opposed to Terrell. I'd rather have Tremaine than Terrell. Derek, welcome back, Derek. What's up, Striker? We came up a little short, but we're going to be a lot better in all phases and make the playoffs. Love the podcast. Have a great offseason. Hope one day I can meet you in person at a game. I do too, Derek. And please let me know, because I let you know at least when I'm going to my games. If you follow me on Twitter, I'll do a better job about saying I'm on my way, I'm going to be at that game. But usually when I tell you on the cast, I tell you which games I'm going to be at. Obviously, I'm done going to games this year. Michael Scott Joyner, draft a free agent, and we must address D-line and corner. See, I don't think D-line is as big of an issue that a lot of you guys think it is. I like Leal, and I like Loudermilk coming up through the system. Still have Carlos Davis on the practice squad. He's shown he can play some middle. I think we need to draft a nose tackle. I definitely agree with you there. But as far as for the defensive end slots, probably not. We're still talking about bringing back Okojobi, but don't know if that's going to happen, and don't know if that would be a smart play. Thing with Wormley, I think he walks now just because of the severity of his injury. That's a tough thing to come back from. And Alualu's retiring. He's done. Michael, thank you, Chicago. Of course. Robert, hey, buddy. How you doing, Robert? Good to hear from you, my friend. Jeff Barber, when do we consider drafting Cam's replacement? We've already been doing it, Jeff. We've already grabbed Leal last year with a third. We did grab, when we grabbed Loudermilk, we were talking about that, even though we jumped up into the 5th round, I think, to get him, or 6th. I forget. 5th, I think 5th from the 6th. But he plays like Cam. We can develop him. If he can develop into that type of player, that's great. But Cam took some time to develop as well. First 3 years, a lot of us were talking about, is this Ziggy Hood the second? I was hearing a lot of Steeler fans say. I don't forget, guys. I don't forget what people talk about. And then Cam just becomes all-pro, 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 Pro Bowl, all-pro, all-pro. Not making the Pro Bowl this year. His numbers are sick house now after they voted on the Pro Bowl like 8 weeks ago. It's dumb. Vote on, especially if you're not even playing a freaking game. Pro Bowl voting last week of the season. Done. Fix it. Figure it out, Goodell. That's just dumb. But he might make an all-pro because of the stats he's put up. Naytown, how do you feel about the Cam Sutton wanting to come back? All for it. He's my number one guy. B. Brooks, can't wait to see Calvin Austin play. Me too. Hopefully he can get on a field and isn't too small to play. Stamps, first round, wide receiver, offensive line, secondary, second round, defensive line, linebacker. I wish we had 3 picks in the first round and 2 in the second. I would love to do that. Probably not grabbing that wide receiver with the 1 pick, though. I think you never know how value is going to play out. And yes, there is going to be a valuable wide receiver at 17. No matter what, there's going to be a very valuable wide receiver there. But is a tackle going to slide? Is a edge rusher going to slide? Is a corner going to slide? Those are the 3 spots where BPA will trump what's there. And guys, let me be clear. When Steelers say BPA, they don't really mean best player available. They don't. What do you mean, Striker? Because there's certain positions they wipe off the board because of who they have. Ben Roethlisberger's your quarterback. Kenny Pickett's your quarterback. You're not taking a quarterback in the first round, even if it's the best player available. That's just the way it goes. You don't want to invest that much capital in quarterback play that early on in the draft. We'll grab another one later on. We're probably drafting a quarterback this year. Why? Because we don't really have a third quarterback. So we'll have to see how that works out. Finished with a winning record. That's it, Stamps Marquee. Winning record. Got to give Tomlin his props. Better record than the Steagles had back in 1942. 43, what year was that? 1943. I had to look at my shirt. This is one of my, I'll show you guys on the other grams. This is my present that I wanted from Christmas. A Pittsburgh Steelers jersey Got the Steeler helmet on there in the mouth of the eagle, the old school eagle, standing on the iron beam. I think that's great graphic design. Whoever made that shirt killed it. Had to get it in the Eagles' old Kelly green with the Steelers' yellow, because you can select whatever colors you want. But I absolutely love this shirt. Lived in Philly. Philly's my second favorite team. Even though Philly doesn't know how to like anything that's not Philadelphia, and hell, they're the first to root against their players as well. Love that we ended up making that. And guys, I know like a lot of people and a lot of Tomlin haters also like to say, well, congratulations, they got another non-losing season. We didn't win in the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs. Guys, you're not going to make the playoffs every year. It's the NFL. There's 32 teams. Especially with a team that's trying to find out who their quarterback was going to be. Especially with a team that started at 2-6 with Trubisky and Kenny Pickett going back and forth at quarterback, still not knowing who's going to be there. An offensive line that didn't gel, couldn't run the jet sweep option, looked like crap the first half of the season, and didn't really realize it until watching a cut up on Twitter from this past game of us running that jet sweep option where we can sweep it both ways. We can still run it straight up the middle with the up back, or we can counter with the running back. We got 4 options, and that is if you choose not to pull it down and throw the ball, which you can do either immediately or after the second option. That is, it is a college offense. Don't get me wrong. It's a college offense. But watching NFL pros running it with optimum efficiency, and then you look at the defensive interior on the other side of the field, and they are flat-footed, and they have no idea where that football is. None. Especially when a guy like Warren's running. Can't even see him. That's why Roquan Smith looked like an idiot this past time we played him, as opposed to 3 weeks prior. Because we weren't as efficient at that jet sweep option. We did it in that Ravens game. He didn't know where the ball was. He wasn't forcing fumbles and getting sacks that last game, knocking down passes, intercepting balls. Why? Because he didn't know where the ball was. And he signed for another $100 million contract, Roquan. Roquan, enjoy watching us trying to figure out where that ball's coming from. You watch all the film you want. You're standing on that field with all that misdirection. You have no idea where the ball is. None. And we're blocking just good enough now to make sure we don't have guys flying in the backfield breaking it up like we did in the first half of that season. Michael Hall had to switch from Facebook to YouTube, was lagging for me. Okay, how does the microphone sound, guys? This is my new microphone, present to myself for Christmas, and I'm hoping it comes in good. So I was looking for a cleaner effect on that. Chow Chow. Did you catch Coach T's press conference? Stuck up for a couple of his players. One reason they are so loyal to him, and that was the other point. Exactly. Great point, too. The players were playing for Tomlin. Najee was saying, I don't want to be responsible for Coach T's first losing season. And you saw the way he balled out these last 3-4 weeks. Cam Hayward, same way. And that's why another reason why Cam Hayward's saying, I don't know if I'm going to be back this year. It sets the tone for the whole team. You got to earn your roster spot every year. Cam's done it. But he's a team leader, showing everybody. Go out there, work hard in the offseason, come back better than you were this year, and we'll win a Super Bowl. That's it. And that's what Tomlin breeds. Michael Hall, I'm glad we ended the season 4-game win streak, won 7 of 9 games, looking good heading into the offseason. And gives us a lot of good feeling moving toward next season. We have our starting quarterback. That question is answered. Kenny Pickett's our starter. Now it's time to open up the offense. I know Canada can open up that offense. Is he going to be back? I don't know. I'm expecting him to be back just by the way the Steelers do business. But I wouldn't be upset if he left. I know a lot of Steeler Nation wants him to leave. But if he comes back, I think he can do some decent things here. I really do. Najee Town, how do you feel about Cam Sutton when he come back? Oh, I already talked about that one. Great. We're all good on that one. I think I repeated that one. Stamps need a new offensive coordinator. Ben Roethlisberger need a new defensive coordinator toward Troy Polamalu. Now, those are great offensive and defensive players. I think Ben Roethlisberger would make a terrible offensive coordinator. He rubs people the wrong way. He played a different way than other people, and I don't want my offense run by another quarterback that's not Ben Roethlisberger, because I don't think another quarterback can run it like that. He stood tall in the pocket, brushing people off like sacks, people that would be sacks, like lint and dandruff off his shoulder. Guy had no problem extending plays just by being big. Won Super Bowls by being big, standing tall, big, powerful throws downfield. That's not Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett's his own guy. Right now, Kenny Pickett's mobile. He'll get to the edge, make a play down the field. Plays a little bit different than Ben. He'll quarterback sneak. Ben won't quarterback sneak. Kenny Pickett will line up under center and run that awesome multi-directional jet option. Ben can't do that. Ben hated lining up under center. He was always either pistol or shotgun, that guy. Hated lining up under center. And he looked awkward doing it. That's why I hated being empty back, just Ben on goal lines. Hated it. Now we got Kenny Pickett being pushed for first downs and touchdowns. Should have been awarded that touchdown. We should have been awarded that. And guys, that past game, that should have been a 30-point game for the Canada offense. Absolutely should have. We were robbed out of 2 touchdowns on the first 2 plays. And then Najee with his first legitimate fumble of his NFL career, trying to get a touchdown. So that's the way it goes. I'd love to sign Edmonds' brother this offseason. Shaquille, right there with you. Right there with you. Picking the Eagles to represent. I am definitely an Eagles fan. I will be rooting for Buffalo and the Eagles. If they come up to meeting each other in the Super Bowl, I'd be rooting for the Eagles. I've got a bunch of Eagles jerseys as well because I worked for the team, and I was up in Philly for 13 years. Yep, I'm not doing live videos tonight, guys. I got too many multimedia platforms going. Eagles to represent NFC, Chiefs or Bills represents AFC. Yeah, that might be that might be a reason to go to a football game if they end up playing in Pittsburgh, and I win a lottery for tickets over there. We'll have to see if that happens. That would be insane. Shaquille Gregory, who would you like to see us pick up this offseason? Biggest thing is just getting Sutton back. That's number 1 for me. If I had to, a dream pickup, who's the guy that Jersey Jerry just shot, number 77, in a Steelers jersey, asking him to come to the Steelers? Left tackle. Yeah, getting a big left tackle would be huge. Just to make sure that blind side is covered. Yeah, outside of that, bringing KZ back too. I really want KZ to be our starting safety next to Fitzpatrick. I think he just makes more plays, and he'd be way better for this team. Antonio, rumor is DJ unfollow the Steelers from Instagram and Twitter. Should we be worried? I didn't hear that he unfollowed us. If that's true, if you have the rumor, anybody else try to confirm that. Haven't heard it yet. It would be slightly concerning, but he's still locked up for 2 years. He can't go anywhere, unless the Steelers traded him. And that contract is tradable. But that would be the only way the Steelers would trade him. I think his only reason to unsubscribe from Twitter and Instagram is you fans. Honestly. Guys, give the guy a frickin' break. Leading receiver on the team. Sure, he has his drops. But hell, he's a playmaker. He gets open. And a young quarterback like Kenny Pickett is going to need a wide receiver like that to get them down the field and make plays. And he'll have more than 0 touchdowns. I will bet $100,000 next year he'll have more than 0 touchdowns if he's healthy enough to play football. But that's it. The only thing that would chase him off Instagram and Twitter is you guys. Us Steeler Nation buttheads. Stabs, how would our defense handle Patrick Mahomes? Kind of the way the whole rest of the league is. He's really hasn't been hurting. He hasn't been blowing people away. Bracketing, the tight end helps. Kelsey. Juju, we know who he is. They don't have a real good stretch the field wide receiver this year without Hill being there. So it's a little bit different of attack. Robert, all fans of the 3 other teams in our division always root against the Steelers, even when they don't make the playoffs, and we do. That's all the more reason to root for them when the tables are turned. We are classy. That is a nice take, Robert. I like that take. But you're definitely right about that. That my Ravens fans cannot root for it, and they hate it. Because when I come over to root for the Ravens at their house and I wear my Rod Woodson 94th anniversary vertical stripe jersey in their house, they can't yell at me. I'm wearing a Raven jersey. I got Rod Woodson on, guys. Here we go. I'm not wearing purple. Oh, Chow Chow wish stood up for a loyal Javon Hargrave still being a Steeler. Yeah, well, we hear that. It's just, that was a money decision. He was going to get paid one of the highest salaries of a defensive lineman for 30% of the snaps on our defense. And that was something that not Tomlin said, but our GM at the time, Colbert, said, sorry, we're not paying that. I would love to have him back, though. Claude Bishop, do you think Mike Tomlin did a good job with his team this season? Definitely. How many teams? I think there was a statistic. It was teams that started 2-6 to make the playoffs. I think it only happened twice in NFL history, or 4 times in NFL history. We had a chance of it happening to 2 teams with Jacksonville and ourselves this past week. It's something that doesn't happen often. You're talking about once a decade, a team goes from 2-6 to a winning record. That's a hell of a coaching job, in my opinion. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who we are, how much we hate Tomlin. That's it. Robert equals Striker is classy for rooting for divisional foes one day in the playoffs, and we're not. Steeler fans who are not that way, are not the truest fan. Well, you can root however you want. It's just the way I root. I can be classy about it. Everybody else can be petty and just rub it in their friends' faces that root for the. If you're living in Ohio, I can see you like rubbing it in your friends' faces. And your Ohio, your Bengals friends and your Browns fans forever when the Steelers are winning Super Bowls and winning the playoffs. But that's the way it goes. Robert, will YJ and DJ be working Big Bro in off season to reunite and be Steelers with them? YJ. I'm trying to think who YJ is. Be working Big Bro. To unretire. Is that for Big Ben? If you're trying to say Big Ben, for TJ, for JJ. Well, TJ and JJ, you're talking about the Watt brothers. Yes, DJ is Derek Watt, and his middle name is a J. We found that out on one of my podcasts. I was super excited to find that out. And JJ, can he unretire and be a Steeler? That would help out our defensive line, guys. And I was saying that before he announced his retirement. I said I did not want to go after Okunjobi. I wanted to go after JJ. I wanted all the Watt brothers. I'm greedy. I want DJ to take a salary cut because we can't be paying that kind of money for a fullback. Chow Chow, excited Muth repeatedly has a sprain, no surgery. Exactly. Because if it was surgery, it was 9 months out. We're not talking about seeing him until September. Not really being a factor until October. That would have been horrible for us, especially when we finally found our tight end. And we might be drafting another one. We need a nose tackle that can push the pocket this year. Absolutely, Rod. Absolutely. We might be able to find them in the 3rd or 4th round this year, but I think that should be taken in a priority in one of those 2 rounds. Jalen Warren is a beast. Let's talk about that rookie. I know a lot of people are talking about our big rookies, Pickett and Pickens, talking about Connor making big plays out on the field. People forget about Warren, our undrafted free agent rookie. Phenomenal year. We have a backup running back. We haven't had a backup running back since Williams. Really, he was our last good one when Williams was backing up Bell. Made a Pro Bowl. Blunt was decent. Warren's good. He's good. He's fast, too. And I like his small size on those sweeps and those plays. And when we had 2 running backs on the field with Najee Harris in the backfield, splitting Warren out wide, taking Warren on that jet across, that killed when we ran that in that game. I forget which team we did that to. Yeah, he's just kind of here. Awesome, Sweets. I'm trying to get to everybody. I know not always. I can't always get to everything, but I try to do what I can. What about D-line and number 55? Bush is gone. Guys, Bush is gone. I know a lot of you feel happy about that. Robinson was the starter the last 2 weeks of the season. Bush only got 5 snaps in the Ravens game, only got 5 snaps in the Browns game. He's fully healthy. Writing's on the wall. Goodbye, Bush. Thank you for your time. We're not paying for you. Somebody else can. And somebody else will. Not going to get huge money, but I think he'll be a starter somewhere next year. I think somebody will make him a starter next year. The numbers, Mason. Mason's not coming back. I know that for Mason Rudolph, unfortunately. Me to gang. D-line is thin. And knows we're thin. I think we have good depth, guys. We might be pulling in one more vet, and our vet pull-ups have been good. Absolutely have been good. Yeah, TJ, we got that one down. Thanks for Baby Gronk update. Good to hear. I love the Steagles. But did they also wear black and gold, or did they wear green? Can't tell. Black and white photos. To tell you the truth, I think they actually wore the green and white jerseys. I had a placard up in my basement when I had my bigger basement in my older house that showed all of the uniforms, and one of them was the green and white Steagles jersey. So, yes, that season was green and white for the Steagles in 1943 when they played as the Carpets with the Chicago Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They wore the Steeler colors. Tamburo, making playoffs means nothing if you don't at least win one game. Well, we're not winning any this year. Idea for graphic design for Steelers fan, Kenny Pickett throwing to Pickens, Pickett to Pickett in Pittsburgh. I buy it, especially if they're on a picket fence. I buy it too. Robert, don't forget that the Steelers were a hybrid with another team not named Eagles. Yep. Yeah, the Cardinals. Yeah, yep, you got it. Card steals and steel cards. Well, they called them the Carpets. And the reason why they called them the Carpets was because they were a 0-win team, and they said it was like walking across them like a carpet. Teams walked across the Chicago Pit team like a carpet. So, very intelligent writers back in the day, good minds. Of course, they'd come up with something funny like that. Love Najee Harris dunking Myles Garrett. Me too. Even if he didn't gain a yard on that play, showed Myles Garrett, I'm going to be here for a while. This is not going to be the last time I do this to you. This is what you get for trying to brain one of our quarterbacks with his own helmet. I'm going to brain you with the ground. I gotta love Najee. Absolutely love Najee. Right, gang. Left tackle, first pick. I would love a good left tackle if somebody drops their round. Absolutely be great. Thomas. Looked like this. Aside from Moore, the offensive line was pretty good in the second part of the year. Exactly. It gelled after the bye. And also, we got the talks at the end of the year. They had like 1,050 consecutive snaps together. Led the league. If we made the playoffs, look out. We weren't a no quarterback team backing into the playoffs like Miami, who lost 5 straight before finally finding a way to win with their third quarterback last week of the season. Steelers would have been a tough out. Tougher out than Miami. I'll sure as hell tell you that. They would have been a tougher out than the Jets. Another team competing there. They would have been a tougher out than New England. All 3 of those teams. Because we have a defense. A solid freaking defense is not allowing you to score more than 20 points. We have an offense that's controlling the ball and that's running it, controlling the clock. You start getting touchdowns in the end zones, you start putting teams away. And our defense is opportunistic, leading the league in interceptions. Starting to come back on fire, being an intense pass rushing team. Bookending the season with 7 sack games. That would have been a fun playoff to see us go up against somebody in the playoffs. Sure, we might have lost, but hell, to see the way that team gelled, I would have loved to see that, L. Thomas. Really would have loved to see that. I say Skonarski out of Northwestern. I am not up on the actual players yet because I don't start following the draft until the combine. Right now, I'm more into free agents, playoffs, what happened this previous season, what are we going to do with our team, and who are we going to retain? That's my mindset for this time of the year, but I'll be getting there hot, and please join me on my draft shows. I start a half an hour before each draft. We usually stay on about an hour after each draft. On the day 3, I'm on for like 10 hours because I stay on for all the undrafted rookie free agents as well. These guys know it's a blast, and it's a way to get a Steelers side. It's like this. We talk the entire time on the draft show. You get to tell me your input. We got great guests on there too, some former players, people in the recording industry and the broadcast industry. And sometimes they're current players. We had Highsmith kick off the draft with us the one year. Dotson was on the air with us when we drafted Najee Harris. I mean, that was an incredible moment for the Steeler Nation and the Steeler Nation video shows and YouTube. L Voice FR. Don't know what that means. Don't know if something's being sold. F you, Dolphins! I know. Just like, oh gosh, what is that old skit from South Park? When the Japanese were like, F you, Dolphin! F you where? Because the U.S. suit like showed pictures of whales and dolphins like bombing them. It was insane. It was an insane show. But yes, the FU Dolphins definitely pops up. Laces should have been out. Laces should have been out. Damn it. Kenny, Rookie of the Year. I would love to see Kenny Rookie of the Year, and I believe he deserves it, in my opinion. I was looking at some stats today. Purdy, though, would be the only other quarterback that I think has some say, but the problem is he has a smaller window. Kenny played in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games. Brock Purdy played in 5. You know, amazing that Mr. Irrelevant is undefeated. That's awesome. Great touchdown to interception ratio. They have an incredible team. They were already set there to win Super Bowls. We're building toward that. Our offense is starting to get there. Our defense is there. But hell, that would be my Rookie of the Year. So yes, definitely. Tim Manners. We lost to the hood teams, good teams, and beat the bad ones. Pretty average performance, but that's the way it goes. I think if the season was reversed, I think we make the playoffs. I think we win 10. If we weren't executing as well against bad teams, we'd probably find a way to win more than 2 games in the first 9 or the first 8 games. Conversely, when we start clicking, we can beat better teams because we're playing better football. We've got our all defensive player of the year guy back, full speed. It would have been a different year. I can argue either way on that one, Tim. But we didn't lose to the crappy team. Tomlin he can't beat the bad team. Tomlin always loses to the bad team. We didn't lose to the bad teams this year. Got a winning record. Got to give him his due sometimes, guys. You can't play it both ways. Claude Bishop, does Canada deserve to remain offensive coordinator? He might not deserve it, but he might be back. Team definitely played better. Team definitely scored more points. I did a write-up on, we discuss all sorts of topics. Steeler Nation Football Forum, it's awesome. Awesome for discussing topics. And I did a quick breakdown of the defensive performance. Before the bye, I think they're around for offensive performance. Before the bye, we were around 15 points per game. After the bye, we were at closer to 20 points. We had 20 points per game. So, yes, we got a lot better after the bye. Definitely did. Rick, you think we will look for a new punter, not too crazy over who we got now, and field position is huge. Well, I got to also give PH3 his props. The last 2 games, he was a weapon. Absolute weapon. No returns, big kicks, flip fields. Did an awesome job. I think the only way you're going to replace him, we're not going to replace him with a vet because we're not going to pay money, versus a kicker that we know can kick, who is an incredible placeholder. Huge body, had to basically go up to full height the once where any other placeholder would have had to stand up. And if a placeholder's standing up in this league, there goes your extra point. So he could probably throw for a touchdown too. That's the stuff. I'm not as worried about it. I think he's an excellent, one of the best placeholders in the league as well. But if he's going to be replaced, it will be with a rookie, an undrafted free agent rookie, and they'll have to beat him out in training camp or an injury. Robert, Claude, Steelers are hysterically cheap and never cut coach with money left. Still pay Canada except at the end of Chuck Noll. Yeah, that's true. I agree, Robert. Okay, good. You guys are having a good conversation. Paid Noll as a consultant for a year or two after Steelers forced him out to retire, but he did no consulting. But Canada ain't Noll, to say the least. Truth. Shame on you, Stryker. I wouldn't be caught dead in any Ratbird jersey. Well, it's not a Ratbird jersey. It's a Woodson Steelers jersey that I wear at Ratbird games. Can never have too much wattage on the team last few years. 3 or 4 sets of brothers. That's what we want. We're the band of brothers. Bring them all over. Get the good Edmonds brother. Get the Hall of Famer JJ over here. Michael Hall, I think Warren is a keeper behind Najee. Definitely is. One reason Derek does not go by DJ is all Watt brothers, huge fans of TV show with female characters playing DJ. So Derek rejected the coolest initial name of all, Watt Bros equals DJ. Absolutely. Guys, we've been having so much fun on the show. I forgot to talk to you about my balls. What is that? I'm talking to you, of course, about Manscaped over at manscaped.com with promo code SteelerNation. All one word, all capitals. You get 20% off and free shipping. I'm not going through the rundown, but don't get your sack sacked this offseason. Go over to Manscaped, plug in Steeler Nation, all caps, one word, 20% off your order, free shipping. Thank you, Manscaped, for not sacking our sack the way the Steelers sacked Deshaun Watson. Manscaped.com, guys. Awesome. Back to business. Your questions, your comments. And, of course, I am way off of where I was. Actually, I'm not that far off. That's great. There we go. That's it. I call Derek DJ. I call Muth Baby Gronk. Equals they don't like it, but it doesn't matter because others choose your nickname. To G.Stryker, who wants to marry Deontay? I hear you. That's a funny take. And I always had, I always called, Emmanuel Sanders, I always called him Sandy. I always yell out, nah, G at games, hoping that we'll start getting these E chants, because I'd love to hear that across the stadium the same way we get the ooth chants for, the ETH, the Heaths. Sounds like you like Canada in 2023. I don't like him, Rod, but I'm prepared to have him back. And he's going to be better, guys. We don't have quarterbacks learning our system and quarterbacks that did not take a snap last year in the previous year in the NFL. Manuti, welcome back from Brazil. Hey, man, with Kenny playing 17 games, maybe we made the playoffs or MT did the right process. I think it was right. I don't think you don't want to throw a rookie quarterback right into the fire in the NFL. You just don't. You bring him up when he's ready. And also it creates a situation where the pressure isn't on them to be the man. They get to come in to be the savior, somebody to look forward to coming to. There's no pressure on you if you're the backup quarterback coming in. And if you do well, then you get all the love like he did. And it turned out to be the right decision, to tell you the truth. It just worked out that way. Now, if you want to talk about the exact week where I wanted them to do it, I wanted them to do it before the Jets game. We did it during the Jets game at halftime. Actually, I wanted to do it the week before that because then they did it at Tampa Bay, which I thought was the toughest way to throw him in. But we ended up winning that one too. So, though he got banged up in that one, and actually Trubisky was the one that came back out and helped us to win that one with Claypool at the end. So, Michael Hall calling 3 things now for next season. T.J. Watt is breaking the Steelers' all-time sacks record from Harrison. T.J. Watt is breaking the single-season sacks record, if not already did. T.J. Watt is winning the 2003 Defensive Player of the Year if he stays healthy all season long. That's the thing. Hi, Vivi. If he's healthy, he's Defensive Player of the Year. There's no question about it. That guy is all world. Absolutely all world. Love those takes. Hopefully TJ can do it. Michael, draft show last year was lit, especially it being my first time. Hope this year can top last year. It only tops it, guys, having all you there with me. That's how it tops it. That's instead of standing there listening to frickin' Mel Kiper. Who's that? Cross between Charlie Sheen and Count Chocula. One of Michael Hall's all-time great takes, which is why he has a nickname, Michael Hall of Fame, with his takes. So great. Awesome stuff. Jay Nava, something to build on for next year, definitely. What's up, Jordan? Hey, there's our photographer. He takes awesome pictures at the tailgates, at the games. Most of our articles, guys, at Steeler Nation, I always utilize his stuff. Jordan's always out there working hard on game day to make sure we get a nice look on both the fun at the terrible tailgate sponsored by Steeler Nation and inside the stadium that day on game day. He takes some great shots. And that shot with TJ Watt floating in the air coming through for the opening announcements, one of the best shots I've ever seen. Absolutely gorgeous. Keep doing what you're doing, Jordan. Love seeing you. Love going to games with you, man. Claude Stryker, you have the best Steeler podcast on the net. Thank you. You guys help make this a great podcast. You guys keep me up. You keep me energized. I'm knowledgeable, but you guys bring out what the topics for me to talk about. Like, I have my outline. We get to them all. Like, I used to be like, well, we have to talk about this. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about this. And it's not fun. We'll get to it. That's what I say. And if we get a lull, I'll go back to the outline and say, oh, I forgot to talk about this. Let's talk about this. We've already talked about everything on my outline. Aside from, like, talking about the minutia from the game and all the little details for everything that happened in the game. But still like it. Thank you very much. I do like the way that the format feels more free and open, and it should be a conversation, which it is. And thank you very much, all of you, for being part of this conversation. Minuti back again. I believe Mike Tomlin doesn't know yet if he keeps Canada or not. His interview shows if he has a decision to keep Canada, he will. Say yes, Matt improved, and we're going to keep him. And I know he can run a more open offense. I think he was doing this a lot just to not have to throw too much at Kenny. And really, that was the thing. It's like, let's get a year under Kenny. Let's get him comfortable. Next year, he's going to be putting up numbers. I'm expecting Kenny to put up numbers next year. This year, he didn't put up numbers. He won games, had a winning record. What was his record? I'll go back to my my thing over here. Kenny Pickett was 7-5. 7 of our wins. 7 of our 9. Kenny Pickett wins. Conversely, Trubisky was 2-3. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Edmonds needs to stay too. See, Minuti, I'm not on that one. Should Bears trade Justin Fields? Wow. I feel badly for Justin Fields. Kind of like I feel badly for Mitchell Trubisky when he was at the Bears. Because he was a good quarterback for the Bears. They changed coaches. He got ran out of town because he wasn't their guy. That's what's going to happen again in Chicago. They got the first pick in the draft. They're probably going to take a quarterback with the first pick, which means Justin Fields' time is numbered. The best quarterbacks, you got 4 elite quarterbacks to choose from this year. 4 of them. Try to get the right one. Shem Gregory, what is the cap space and how much do you think? I thought we were around $100 million. I've got Spotrac up. Let me check. For next year, 2023, it looks like we are cap space. Oh, that's off the screen here. I got to slide the screen over. Got to extend this a bit. Alrighty. Adjusted salary cap, active contracts, dead caps, everything's coming over, the rollovers. Oh, I thought we were at 100. It's saying our estimated cap next year is 13 mil. That's not a lot. If that's for that, is that for this year or is that for next year? Nope, that's got to be for next year. That's not a lot. Got to restructure, guys. Not hitting free agency as hard as we hit it last year. And we might have to cut some people. We'll have to see. Wow. I'll have to do another show on that because that was something I wasn't as prepared to talk about. For some reason, I thought it was closer to 100 mil. I probably looked at the 2024 cap instead of the 2023 cap. That's probably where I screwed up. But we're not cutting our top 3 defensive players on that board. Watt, Hayward, and Fitzpatrick. Deontay Johnson's our highest paid offensive player. I know that gives a lot of people a couple things to be upset about. Followed by Okorafor. And then William Jackson. William Jackson is a player that we can cut, and we automatically earn that $12.7 million. That would be there's no dead cap on him if we cut him. So if we want 12.75 mil, cut William Jackson or restructure him. We can definitely restructure. He might be willing to play with us since we're like, let's see if we can work this out because I think he's going to be a good player too. I'd like to have him on the team. We can cut Miles Jack, free up $8 million if we cut Miles Jack. That might happen because it looks like Robinson and Bush might be the starters. James Daniels is 11 mil. He's not going anywhere. Trubisky, 10 mil, 2.6, dead cap. So we get to save $8 million on a Trubisky cut. That might happen. And that would be a good way to cut some money. Not making money. We lose money if we cut Boswell. We're not cutting Boswell anyway. He'll come back. He'll be better than ever. Witherspoon, we make $4 million on a cut. That's interesting. Not cutting Najee Harris. We're upside down if we do. $3 million if we cut Montravis Adams. That could happen. Not cutting Kenny Pickett. Gunner saved $2 million. That could happen. Killebrew saved $2 million. That could happen. Millette saved $2.5 million. $2 million. That could happen. So yeah, we've got a lot of options here. We got some people that we might be cutting to get that cap space working for us. And I'll get to you right here in a second here, Minuti. Just got to touch base on the guys over here too. Najee back 1,000 rushing yard season. Jay, that was huge. Especially the way we started off with him. Especially the way that started. Oh, great. Yeah, we're just over the hour mark. Nice. What's the name of the TV show the Watt brothers watched religiously with DJ as a character? Family Ties, Roseanne, Empty Nest, DJ. DJ was the girl. DJ would have been, not Family Ties. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Because that's like back in the 80s. It was the four girls with the house mother. And DJ was like the cool one. The one I expect to smoke and have sex on the first date. Oh, crap. What was that one called? Wasn't Different Strokes. Family Ties? Family Ties? Did I just rip out Family Ties? Was that it, guys? Was it Family Ties? Yeah, Family Ties. I think it was Family Ties. Nick, our schedule for next season looks promising as of now. Hardest game besides division is 49ers. Yeah, that division's probably our hardest stuff. Cincinnati twice. We get to play Green Bay. Green Bay had a crap year. Aaron Rodgers had a crap year. Got to play. Who else do we get to play? New England, of course, again. Freaking hate New England. But then again, we get to play like the whole AFC South, which was a dumpster fire this year. We get to play the NFC West, which is a good division. Rams sucked this year. Seattle started playing good. I think they made playoffs, right? San Francisco, of course, are a great team. And then that leaves, who's the other team out there? New Orleans? Are they the only one? No. They used to play in that division. They still play in that division? I can't recall. I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, we got some. We have an easier schedule on paper next year than we did this past year, because that was a gauntlet, guys. First half of that season was a gauntlet. Michael, please do not hex TJ like that. Reminds me of saying AB was about to beat Hines records. Right? Carlos Goncalves! Hello, Carlos from Venezuela, my friend. The Steelers retooled the offense in 2 seasons, just have complete the O-line, revamp in the upcoming draft, and we are ready to rock. Absolutely. I want to get one of those athletic centers. I don't know if there's even, I was trying to look up. I'll be reviewing that here coming up for the draft talks, but I'm looking forward to that as well. Minuti, Kenny, and the entire preseason could be amazing with DJ and Muth. They didn't play until Kenny starts. That would be great. Bring Juju back. I know you'd like to, but I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he wants to be on this offense. He wants to go make stats and win Super Bowls. Prisco, where would you put Pickett in? Top 20 right now? This league, right around 20. I'd say 20 is accurate for this year. Next year, I think he's going to go up. Hopefully he becomes a top 10 quarterback, because that's what we need. And that's what, if you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, you're expecting them to be a top 10 quarterback. And that's what Ben was for his career, a top 10 quarterback. Manute Washington is on the market. If we don't draft a wide receiver, he is strong, good blocker for a low price. I like him. I don't want him. I don't like his ability. He just can't get open in the Z. He just can't get open, and he can't stay healthy. I don't think he'd be a good investment for me. I'd rather draft and take a flyer out on a question mark than to bring Washington back. But that is me personally. And boom! What do you think about the Eagles? They got a great shot if they got Jalen Hurts back. If Jalen Hurts is back and he's 100%, he's going to be doing the hurting on the rest of the league. They would be the team to win the Super Bowl. Oh, there it is. Michael, I will always cherish my nickname, and it was because of that Mount Kuiper, Charlie Sheen, and Count Dracula comparison. You gave me the nickname. Best nickname ever. Thank you for it, boss. You're welcome, Michael, Hall of Fame. Always happy to have you on the show. With that being said, I shall see you next week. Take care, boss, and safe travels. Salute. Go Steelers. Have a great week, Michael. Oh, guys, I need to say something before anybody leaves. Pressgraves jumped on, Miles Pressgraves. He jumped on the show when I did the podcast on Friday. Late at night. Sometimes I do it late at night, but he was on there. He passed his EMT test. Miles Pressgraves is an EMT. Give him some kudos as well. Steeler Nation has a frontline person going to be using those AED machines to help keep people alive and well. So kudos to you, Miles Pressgraves. Unfortunately, I didn't see you on the show, but was glad that it came to my head right there. Restructure time. Yes, it is, Jay. Definitely right. Devin Bush, adios, keep Spillane. You got it. Facts of life. That was it. Facts of life. Take the good, you take the bad, you take them both. There you have the facts of life. The facts of life. Franco Harris is the best Steelers player. Yeah, boom. Cannot disagree with that. I took a picture of the memorial coming in to the stadium right there, where the spot where he caught the Immaculate Reception, and they have a big plaque and stuff on the behind. They got all these terrible towels on the ground, flowers everywhere, pictures. It's gorgeous. It's just how much Steeler Nation loves Franco Harris. They actually had to move the statue from right there at the escalators to the main lobby because it would have gunked up the entire airport with all the flowers, everybody coming in from all over the country, paying their respects. That was it. It was freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. Derek Lord, congratulations to Miles. Go Steelers. Awesome. Guys, this is your show. I'm going to be going through the sign-offs here quick. Best team. Best team is the Bills. I'm rooting for the Bills, too, guys. I'm always on the Overdue Bills podcast every time we play them. They're great guys. They gave me a T-shirt, so I wear that when the Bills are playing. I'll be wearing an Overdue Bills podcast T-shirt for those games. And they're just great fans. I'll be wearing my Steagles T-shirt now when I get to for the Eagles games. That'll be fun. Going to see a couple of my Eagles friends this week. I'll take this up there and rub it into him too. He'll like that. TJ should be throw the pokeball at JJ Pokeball, let's say, and let's use Derek to bring JJ. Like, come here and we'll sign Derek and the three play together. I would love that. We have to sign 2 Watt brothers to make that happen. Derek's got to take a pay cut. So does JJ. JJ would have to take a pay cut, too, to play with his brother, but he's starting a family. I don't know how much he wants to play football for one more year if he's starting a family. And, guys, that's all the time I got here on the Steeler Nation podcast. Be sure to go over to SteelerNation.com for all the great Steeler-centric articles, the best place for articles on the interwebs, SteelerNation.com. Our football forum is just a click on a tab right there. Join that there. You can discuss stuff with me all week. We got a couple guys that jump here in and out from the football forum as well. Awesome, awesome discussion. Go over and be part of our YouTube. Subscribe, Steeler Nation at YouTube. That is where we do all the podcasts. And when I record the podcast, you get the free look to jump on to see that. And sometimes I will take your questions, but I'll usually talk to you after I finish up the podcast because it's a smaller show. The vidcast, of course, is the big show, which you guys are on right now. And that's also on YouTube.com. Tweet us at Steeler Nation, Instagram us, and Facebook us at SteelerNation.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at _SN Podcast, or follow me, Steeler Nation Striker, at SN Striker on the grams, on the tweets, on the tickety talks. Striker's always spelled with a Y. Why? Because he's awesome. Even my Bengals loving cat says so. She loves me, but she hates my team. Thanks, Lexi. That is all the time we have here for the Steeler Nation Vidcast, sponsored by Total Sports Enterprises, part of the Big Play Vidcast Network. I'm your host, G.Stryker, rooting along with you as always, guys. Go Steelers! And I bring